Hey guys, thought I'd make a video of my Craftsman C3 tool collection and a little bit of story to go with them, I guess. There is 40 pieces here. I didn't actually count how many tools there was versus, but I'm counting batteries and chargers. Total, there's 40 pieces here. Some thoughts with it. First, we'll start off with the batteries. All I own now is the lithium batteries. I do not own any of the NiCads. And if you have any of these tools and say all you own is the black NiCad batteries, you're not getting the full experience of the use of these tools. Especially if you're using any of the larger ones like the circular saws or the little shop vac. The miter saw, you just got to have the big battery on that. It's a nice saw and it has plenty of power to cut 2x4s. I mean, it's great. I mean, that's probably pretty much the biggest thing you can cut in it. You probably cut straight through a 2x6. Yeah, but no angles on it. But anyway, kind of getting off topic on the batteries. But anyways, the first batteries I owned was, as far as the lithium, was these smaller compact ones, and these was a step up from the NiCad, just these little batteries, because they was more consistent throughout the use of the charge. They don't run dead. I mean, the NiCad ones, I would charge them up and then a week later I go to use a tool and the battery was either half dead or dead. And these pretty much stay charged. I have some others here that they're new basically, but every 6 months I do get them out and kind of plug them into a flashlight, run for a little bit, and then put them on a charge just to keep them somewhat active but not in everyday use. But they're fully charged, getting them out of the storage for 6 months. These have some drawbacks though, these little ones do. They tend to get super hot if you're using them on some of the larger tools. Whereas the bigger ones, they might get a little warm, but they don't get super hot. These are great for drills. They're good for the hand drills and the lights. They're also pretty decent in the sawzall, depending on what you're doing with it. You do not put it in some other items that I mentioned before, plus like that grinder right there. You don't want to stick them in that. The impacts, you want to use the larger battery. They work fine in the weed eaters. They work good in them. They don't get overheated in the weed eater. As far as the XCP, this is the larger battery. Here is a double stack. The XPC versus a regular double stack, I don't see any difference, and it's not worth your money to spend it. You can pick these guys, the double stacks, up now for, I'm gonna say $40 if you can find a deal on it. General average price probably about $40, and these guys here are over 50, and there's no point in it. Don't waste your money on these. That's my opinion. I've had these tools for 5 years now, probably, maybe more, and it's not worth the money to spend on this. You're better off just throwing an extra $20 in maybe and getting 2 of these. One of these batteries is actually a homemade double stack. I got some junk ones on eBay. The guy said that they was junk and needed repaired, and I actually just took 2 of my single ones and soldered them together and stuck them in here, and this thing's flawless. I mean, it works great. This little thing, this meter right here, don't work, but I would recommend not getting inside of them. It's kind of dangerous, but if that is your thing that you can get into and do it safely, then I had no trouble at all stacking 2 of them up and just using one circuit board for both battery banks, and then just yeah, bridged them together, even bridged across for the equalization hookups. The shop vac. The shop vac amazingly works pretty decent. It can suck up water, so I mean it's powerful enough to do that. It does need a relatively clean filter in it. I just run it with the foam filter. I do not use the bag thing around it. If you use the bag thing around it, it kind of sucks. So if you're shop vacuuming your car out, you might want to sweep your car out first and then do the Armor All and cleaning your dash, because you know, you're going to get dust coming out of it, because it is a good vacuum cleaner, it really is, but it's trying to put that pre-filter on bag type thing. It's not very, it takes away too much vacuum off of it. But it's a battery operated device, so you gotta be expected with some of this stuff that it's just the way it is. Chargers. I had, anybody that says one charger is better than the other, BS. I have had several different chargers. I don't have them all here now because I gave away a couple tools to a buddy, and I gave him some of my older batteries, and I gave him this one charger that it was annoying to me. It was supposed to be a rapid supercharger, and it really had like had some kind of fan in it that kicked on, and it supposedly charged the batteries faster. But the funny thing is, you could take the battery out of it once it said it was charged and stick it in one of these, and it would charge for another 10 minutes. So I don't buy it. It basically just shut off sooner, or it was pumping more voltage into the battery, and then, you know, a battery has a certain amount of resistance towards that, and so the faster you're trying to charge it, the more resistance, the faster the charger turned off. So, you know, but I got several different chargers. I've had other, and I can tell you, one ain't no faster than the other. I'd say you're actually probably better off with this little guy, these little guys right here. They don't overheat the battery, and they do a nice job, and they take about, I don't know, I'll call it a half an hour for the small battery, an hour for the big one. It just depends on the capacity, you know, the condition of the battery. I say a brand new compact might take 40 minutes, where those take 30 now because they're quite old. And I've seen the bigger batteries take well over an hour, so, you know, it is what it is. The impacts. I did have the newer impact. It has more of like a little sharp edge type shape right here to it, and it said it was a higher capacity, and it died within a month. I rotated probably 2 sets of tires with it, and it like acted like it was locked up. Took it apart, didn't find anything locked up with it. Tried to mess with it a little bit electrically, and I just couldn't bring it back. It just up and died. I was really mad because I spent quite a bit on that, because at the time it was a brand new out tool. But this one's brand new. That's why it's still in a bag. Never been used. This one here is the one currently in use. And I did have one before this of this model, and I owned it for 3 years. Changed multiple, say, engine or transmission jobs, and it did great. And I'm just gonna stick with these older ones. I might actually get on eBay here later and see if I can hoard me a third one. But you know, because this is the older design, it's gonna fade away. If you can even buy it anymore, I don't know. But that newer design, it just didn't work out for me. And the thing of it was, I hoarded it in a box for like 6 months after I bought it, and when I got it out to use it, then I had the problem with it, and by that point I owned it for too long to return it, so I was kind of screwed with this. Bad thing about like hoarding stuff is that when you do get it out, you might discover that it's not any good. The little 1/4" impact. I used it once. It's good for, like, if you're putting together a deck or something, you can put lag bolts in with it. You know, it fits any, you know, those little 1/4" bits. And it worked good for the time I did use it. I only used it, maybe I ran in like 6 bolts. This little sander / cutter thing, you can see like the little bits that goes on it. I used it once, and I guess, I mean, it has its uses. Nothing bad to say about it. This thing here, I use it quite a bit. It doesn't have a lot of power as far as like knocking something loose, but it is handy in certain situations where, say you're working on I don't know, some bell housing bolts or exhaust bolts that's right up against a firewall. You have to break them loose by hand, but it's handy just to, you know, zip them out. You're not sitting there ratcheting away on them. It's handy. The brad nailer. I live in a double wide, and that whole thing is held together with those, so it's pretty handy at keeping that double wide put together. I think those little nails could be a little cheaper. I mean, it's like every time you fire the thing, it's like $5, $5, $5, you know, but you know, it could be a little cheaper to buy the nails, but it's a pretty handy tool. It's pretty powerful, actually. I run it mostly on the lowest setting because it'll just shoot a nail right through a molding strip, right through the wallboard if you have it turned up. The little circular saws, 5.5, I think they are. I made a point with the one to build this entire garage with that saw. Outside of a couple things, it was just out of its range that it couldn't, you know, make it through. But I cut all these 2x10 floorboards. They cut everything. And on the original blade, I actually just recently changed the blade because I decided to cut some sheet metal with it and destroy the blade. But it did this entire place. Even here just recently, I did some finishing up the place. Yeah, just taking stupid lights out. You know, finishing up the walls and everything, and it's done the job, and it's probably could do it over again. Little tire inflator, that thing is pretty handy. It's great for ATVs, lawnmowers, and stuff like that. It's not very fast, but given the fact that you only put like 3 to 5 pounds in those tires anyways, it's pretty quick to do that task. So it's a good tool. That is my second one of those. The first one, I think I just wore it out, but I had the original box, and I was able to con Sears into taking it back, and they gave me a new one. But I probably had it for a year, but I had the box, and I pretended that I couldn't find the receipt, and yeah, they switched it for me. I wouldn't recommend using that to air up car tires, really. It would be great for, like, you're going to stick it in your trunk and you got a lithium battery that's going to hold a charge for who knows how long, and in a pinch you could use it to air up, every once in a while air up a tire. But if you're going to use that every day to run a tire up to 30 or 40 pounds, you're going to break it. Airing up stuff like that, it could do it for 10 years. This is my second one of these grinders. I did get a lot of use out of the first one, but one thing I can tell you is you don't really want to overheat it. If you overheat it, I had trouble with the brushes, the mounts for the brushes. They overheated, and they're plastic mounts that holds the brushes, and I melted them. And the brushes kind of fell out of place and ruined it. I did get tons of use out of that thing though. This is a this isn't an everyday tool. This is you don't want to run a cord all the way out to do some small job, or it'd be great for sharpening the blades on your mower without taking the blades off. It's a handy tool, but it's not an everyday tool. Definitely not like industrial use type thing. It's not that. The Sawzalls. I had one before these. Okay, I had one of these before, and I got tons and tons and tons of use out of it. I mean, I trimmed all kinds of trees. I deforested this property with that stupid Sawzall, and it did eventually burn out. And so I bought 2 more. Basically, sometimes I get this stuff in a kit, and then you get batteries and chargers and things, and sometimes you get duplicates of tools that, you know, like I got a brand new drill right here. Great tool. You can overheat them with the big battery. With the small battery, you can pretty much use it indefinitely with the small batteries. But the big batteries, you can't overheat the tool. So there's a lot of this stuff in any tool almost. I don't care what brand it is. You kind of have to use a little bit of brains with it. You know, you start smelling that it's getting hot. You know, you need to put it away and give it a break. These are not top-of-the-line tools. These are the average guy can get their hands on and use, and they are great tools, but they're not really industrial use. None of these tools are. The lights, I got the little incandescent flashlight, the little LED one, and the 2 fluorescents. I did get some extra bulbs for these just in case you can't get them later. I don't think they make that light anymore. I did want a little lay down fluorescent. It had like a single bulb kind of laid down. I did want one of those, but by the time I went to look for one, I couldn't find it. Miter saw. This is a pretty good tool. It has plenty of power. I was amazed, actually. I was amazed at the power of this tool. It's meant for finishing jobs like molding strips and stuff. It's only 7 1/4 inch, but it can cut a 2x4 at a 45. But you couldn't cut a 2x6 at a 45. You cut a 2x6 straight through, but not in any angles. It would run out of, you know, so it doesn't move back and forth or anything. But I actually struggled to find that tool because it was discontinued when I looked for it, and I ended up overpaying for the thing because, you know, it was so limited. A guy had a couple of them on the shelf, and I overpaid for it. But if you want it bad enough, that's the way it works. Weed eaters, these things are great. One of them, the handles broke off. I have 2 properties, a place in town that I live, and then this property, you know, 3 acres out here. So I needed a second one. I'm probably going to have to replace this one here. It's probably, as long as I started out with these tools, I'm going to say 7 years. I think it's probably 7 years old. The first one here was like an eBay debranded. See where somebody ground off the Craftsman part of it, but no, this video is probably getting super long, but just thought I would give my thoughts on these things and show my little collection here. Given the fact that these are, I'm going to call average guy kind of tools, there's quite a bit of money involved in collecting these things, even at that. I mean, this thing over here was, I think it was a discontinued thing too. I think it was $100 and some for that thing. They seem to bring a tool in, and then whenever, you know, then they discontinue it, and then they bring it back later. Like they can't constantly make it. Maybe they quit making that and start making that, and then quit making that and start making that again. I don't know. But And also, these tools are directly related to Ryobi's tools. And I did hear a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that Craftsman is now Black & Decker, owned by Black & Decker. So I would have to look for these tools to be discontinued, and we'll have Black & Decker versions of some Craftsman tool, I think. If it's all true, I don't know. I mean, I've heard rumors about, say, Tecumseh went out of business and went bankrupt. Well, you can get on the line and look and see that Tecumseh's well in business, and you can still buy brand new mowers with brand new Tecumseh's on there. So rumors are rumors, but they are copies of Ryobi's. They're duplicates to them. I actually fixed the other Sawzall once with the guts out of a Ryobi that I got my hands on, and the guts fit right in it. Another thing too is, later on down the road, if we struggle with trying to replace our batteries and you still got a handful of tools you want new batteries for, you could probably easily buy the Ryobi batteries, which will probably be around longer because if something happens with these. But you could very easily just take your circuit board off, put it on their battery pack, and then it would just all fit down inside this case. So you could rebuild the batteries easily, or you could even take a battery apart and take individual cells out. I haven't had much luck with that. You have a problem where the batteries are actually welded to each other, and soldering just doesn't work whenever you hook it to a reciprocating saw and it's vibrating all around. It's just not, the solder does not hold up. But if you take a complete pack and transfer it over. But well, I'll catch you guys later.